Hello, guys. I'm extra professional today. I have all my notes on my MacBook. So, we're going to really get into this topic today. But before we start, hello, guys, and welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you're new here. And in today's video, I'm going to be talking about red flags in relationship. I'm getting back into this topic after the Wizard List video that I made. And I did promise that I'm going to make a whole series of videos on these topics, like advice on relationships and dating and stuff like that. And I am doing exactly that, as I promised. So, the topic of today's video is red flags in men. Okay. I want to make a separate video talking about certain situations and traits in men that are not necessarily red flags in terms of potential abusers and manipulators, abusers specifically, but just sort of undesirable traits that you might want to look out for if you want to just have a good, healthy relationship. But these are not necessarily like red flags, right? Like you might not be very happy, but they maybe will not abuse you. But in today's video, I'll talk about major red flags in men to look out for. And I will, as I go through the list, because I have a list of things and I hope that I can put them all in one video. Maybe not. We'll see how that goes. And as I go along, I will tell you why it's important to look out for those things and why it's important to learn all of these signs and all of these traits and characteristics. You need to look out for these things because in the future, they might progress into something worse. These might result into you getting into a relationship with a person who might potentially abuse you and manipulate you. And this will not result in a happy outcome for you. I'm looking out for you and I'm giving you the list. It is especially important for you to pay attention to these things if you're younger because you might have certain hopes and dreams and your mind still might be clouded by some sort of fairy tale ideal relationship that you were promised growing up from books and movies and such. I know it might sound silly, but regardless of your age, please pay attention. This is an educational video. So let's get to it. The first thing that I have on my list is love bombing. And here's the thing, this is exactly why I said that you should pay attention to these things, because when I was younger, let's say 10 years ago, I would take love bombing as a massive compliment. I would not take that as a red flag, as a sign of anything potentially bad. I would actually really enjoy that. And I would take that as a he's my soulmate kind of sign, like he's my twin flame or whatever the hell people are using nowadays. It doesn't really matter. Love bombing is not a good thing. Love bombing is something to look out for. It might be very validating and you might take that as a compliment and you might think that you're special. There's a reason why love bombing has become a coined term that people use and tell you to watch out for. Because in healthy relationship, love bombing does not occur. It's not the same as being respected. It's not the same as being looked out for and being taken care of. Okay? Love bombing, especially, well, it mostly happens in the beginning of a relationship, like at the dating stage, very early on. Please look out for that. If you're getting excessive amount of attention and excessive amount of, compliments, please be very aware. A lot of the times these things are done by narcissistic people who are potentially abusive, and sooner or later this love bombing might be used against you and it will be taken away from you and used to manipulate you in various other ways. I don't necessarily want to go too deep into all of these things because I have multiple things on the list, but this is something to look out for. If you have other questions, please leave them in the comments. I can talk specifically about all of these individual things separately in different videos. But I cannot stress that enough. Do not take that as a compliment. Be grounded and centered in yourself. Know who you are. Understand that, yes, you are beautiful, you are great, you are smart, all those things. You don't need a man to tell you all these things. You don't need to be validated by a man. Trust me, ever. You don't need that. And a man telling you these things also doesn't mean anything. So look out for that. Moving on. Another thing that sort of falls into the same category, or very similar category, I would say, is excessive spending of money. There are several points on my list actually that kind of like are sort of in the same category, but like excessive money spending, trying to impress you, trying to buy you, trying to kind of win you with wealth. Look out for that. It's obviously a very different situation if you are dating a wealthy man and having expensive gifts, expensive trips, expensive vacations, and stuff like that is just a normal situation. But first of all, do not go on any vacations with any man you've just met, and like that's never a first date or like first few dates situation, for safety's sake, not for anything else. So don't ever do that. Please be smart and responsible. Better be safe than sorry. I always say that, and please, if I can teach you anything, please stick to that. No money in the world, no amount of wealth, no amount of gifts, no amount of anything else can protect you and can keep you safe. So always understand that your safety comes first and do not do anything crazy. So, yes, watch out if you are feeling like a man is trying a little bit too hard to flaunt his wealth. Maybe that's the best way to put that. Um, I know a lot of women, especially nowadays, might not see that as a red flag, but please watch out for that. This could be a trap. Now, the next point is bragging, which to me that it falls kind of in a similar category as the previous one, which is again trying to win you over, trying to buy you with stuff, with certain things. And bragging doesn't have to be about money and wealth necessarily, it can be about achievements as well. And we're not talking about when you are on a date with a man and he's talking about his achievements, casually. Specifically when he's bragging about that and he keeps talking about that and he keeps talking about that and he keeps talking about his achievements and his wealth and his accomplishments and this and this and that. It's all very nuanced. Be careful, pay attention. It's all about how he talks and what he's saying. Please watch out for a man who is bragging and seemingly trying to win you over with wealth, accomplishments, and stuff. Yes, it is true that men a lot of the times achieve these things in order to win women over. However, this can be often done by men who then will weaponize those things against those women and use that to abuse them and manipulate them and make them feel like, well, you got with me because of my wealth and because of my accomplishments. Because at the end of the day, we all want to be loved for who we are. And, what you do want, I am assuming that you are here because you want to learn how to date and how to be in a relationship with a man who is centered in himself, who is grounded, who is confident who he is, and who you can build a long-lasting, long-term relationship with. That's that's the goal, I am assuming. Bragging is never a sign of confidence. We want a confident, healthy man. Okay, on to the next. The next point is quick development of things. This could be similar to love bombing, but not necessarily. Quick development of things is when all of these significant relationship milestones are happening really quickly. Saying, I love you, talking about marriage, talking about proposals, having children. When all of these things happen quickly, that is bad. You do not want that. Haven't we all heard all of these stories when events happen so quickly and then they unravel really quickly as well and like things fall apart really, really quickly? The fire that starts really quickly and burns really, really bright burns down just as quickly and disappears just as quickly. We want to build steady, good relationship on a healthy foundation. Nothing healthy can be built on a foundation that is crazy and unpredictable and wild and develops like excuse me, and develops like wildfire. It's also why I am mentioning this point because, again, like I said before, when I was younger, I would take that as a massive green flag. I would take that and think that he understands me, he sees me, he knows what I want, and he is the one for me. Because I used to fall in love really quickly, and I used to develop crushes and really in like feelings really quickly. So You don't want to do that because you can never know who the person is until some time passes. You need time to learn the person. You need time to understand what the person is like. You need to spend enough time with the person, is what I'm saying. And these things are very easily overlooked and romanticized when you're younger, which is exactly why I am telling you to watch out for those things, because a healthy relationship develops steadily and it takes time. Everything happens in time, and that is okay. That is okay. In the first couple of months, roughly, right, with the regular dating, you do not want to hear any big words. You don't want to hear anything about love and stuff like that. These are big words, and these big words can be used by guys to manipulate women, especially young women, but not necessarily, because they know that we are romantic creatures and we want to be cuddled and we want to be loved and we want a romantic, beautiful love story. Not all of us necessarily. I'm just telling you how things are. It is your job and your responsibility to do whatever you see fit in your life and in your relationships. However, yeah, no big talk about family and children and stuff like that in the first few dates. This is not normal. This is not healthy. You cannot learn anybody, you cannot know anyone on a deep level in the first few dates. The point of dating is getting to know the person, that you are getting to know them. And then you see if you like them enough to proceed to a relationship where you will then proceed to learn the person and hopefully fall in love with them over time. These are basics. Maybe I should have started with that, of like how a relationship is supposed to develop to begin with. But no. Point of reference, Wizard Liz. What did he say? He told her he loved her and how crazy that was in the first, what was it, 36 hours or something like that? No, run. It is impossible to fall in love with anyone in such a short period of time. Even I can't tell you what love is, because real love develops and occurs over time, over years with the same person. Only people who can tell you about love are the people who have been happily married for years and decades. These are not people who have been married for a year or two. These are not people who have been together for a year and lived together for a couple of years again. Even if they are really happy, real love develops over time as you go through things together, as you develop as individuals together, grow together, encourage each other's growth, go through difficulties and hardships together, as you see how the other person reacts in difficult, unpredictable situations. You need to experience all these things to understand who the person in front of you really is. It's not enough to have a romantic chat for a date or two or three or five. You can start really liking someone, there's nothing wrong with that, but you do not throw big words around, and you do not, like, this is, if you hear something like that early on, it's a manipulation straight on. There's nothing about like maybe he will abuse you in the future. He's manipulating you right now. And if he doesn't know what he's doing, he's a very, very immature person, a very impulsive person, and you do not want that either. This is not going to end well. Watch out. Thank you. All right, these next ones have to do with like a man's personality. So, men who can't reflect. Men who cannot reflect. This is more about like not necessarily the first few dates, but if you are in a relationship with someone, or if you are, yeah, you already are in a relationship with someone, maybe you live with them, maybe not, but you are together and you are proceeding to get to know the person, and you see that they cannot reflect on their past experiences, their past, actions and stuff like that, and like learn from them. There's nothing wrong with making mistakes. We learn from making mistakes and move forward as better people and better partners. So that is a major red flag, 100%. And I also want to say here that, like, when I'm talking about mistakes, I'm not talking about cheating. Cheating is never a mistake. Please put it on a post-it if you have to, put it on a mirror, put it on your forehead if you need to. Um, Things like that are personal choices and decisions, very serious ones, and it's never a mistake. Please don't gaslight yourself. Speaking of gaslighting, gaslighting is always a major flag when someone is trying to make you feel crazy when in fact you are not. And you are noticing certain behaviors that you saw for a fact, or you witnessed, you experienced, right? You know that they said something to you, you know that you saw them doing something, and they are blatantly denying that. Not just denying that, but specifically making you feel crazy. Sometimes by directly telling you you are crazy, or you are overly emotional, or you are overthinking, or whatnot. Some people struggle with overthinking and have mental health problems and had negative past experiences. These things should never be used against you. I will talk about that later on. But gaslighting is a major, major red flag to look out for. Please note that down, write it down if need be, and be safe out there. Thank you. Okay, this next one is always, like I said, we started a new category of personal qualities. No empathy. No empathy. I'm not saying that you are necessarily dealing with a psychopath. I feel like a lot of people online nowadays really confuse having no empathy with being a psychopath and throwing this word around really, really easily. A man having no empathy is unfortunately, I don't want to say it's a norm because it like that almost like hurts my own feelings. A lot of men are brought up as boys without being taught about empathy and how to empathize. They are brought up to be strong, to be masculine, to be whatever else, to earn money, to have a job, to not excessively show emotion. Somehow, anger is not considered an emotion by men. Anger is an emotion and primarily one. Go watch my videos on emotions. Thank you very much. Anger is the very first one because it's the most basic foundational emotions that even animals have. So, okay. Therefore, I do not believe that all men who don't necessarily have empathy are psychopaths and sociopaths. Especially, like, listen, there's a whole, it's honestly a whole other topic. People cannot become psychopaths, they are born psychopaths. It's honestly a whole other topic that I don't really want to talk about, but some men don't have empathy. I hate to say this, but a lot of men don't have empathy because they were brought up not to have empathy, and because misogyny is such a huge part of our society, unfortunately, whether we see it or not, and as women, we do see it more and more so as we are waking up collectively to the realities of things. And with today's politics and such, it's very, very easy to observe that. And if you're not observing that, you are choosing to not observe that. It's really blatant and really obvious. So that has been an underlying messaging for everybody for a really, really long time, for decades, for centuries. Women were not seen as people. And even if in today's world we do, you know, seemingly have feminism, and feminism has won women a lot of, freedoms and possibilities. And whether men would like to admit that or not, it made their lives easier also. Um, but again, it's a whole other topic and conversation. But my point is that a lot of men growing up observing the behavior of men around them, consuming specific type of content online, you know what I'm talking about, learn to not see women as people. Okay, not all men, a lot of men. Okay, this is hard for me to say, and this is really, it really hurts. But once you really think about that, once you really sit down and understand that, would you be talked to like that if you were a man or a guy friend, not a girlfriend? Would someone really make a comment that they made if you were a man? You will quickly understand what I'm talking about. Lots of men don't see women as people, and that translates. Doesn't mean they're psychopaths. That means it's a product, they are a product of their conditioning and of their upbringing. Um, so having no empathy is still a major red flag. So be aware. All right, men who need external validation. Yeah. Men who need a lot of external validation is a major red flag. And it can show up in numerous different ways, including some of the first points that I mentioned in the beginning of this video about bragging, spending a lot of money on you, love bombing you, not necessarily love bombing, but trying to show off a lot and trying to win you with his accomplishments. He needs your validation. Same goes to men who, for example, work out a lot. I don't want to get it twisted here. There are plenty of men who work out a lot without needing lots of external validations, right? There are plenty of reasons to work out. However, this could be a sign. I have met men who work out a lot and they are extremely insecure and they do need a lot of attention from women. They do not respect women. They do not see women as people, and they are like stuck in this self-hatred loop. And these are generally quite dangerous people to be around. Please do not get my words twisted. I've never said, and I never will say, all men do that and like all people who work out do that. That's not at all what I'm saying. These are just some of the people who could be included in those categories. Another big category of men who are included in this category are people who are very active on social media. I personally find it really unattractive when a man is really active on social media, when a man has an Instagram that's really active and he's posting a lot of selfies and stuff like that. I think we can all agree on that. Yeah. Mm. Another thing is, and I really want to mention this, I think I will make this the last point of this video, not to make it too long. When you are starting to date a man, when you are early in a relationship with a man, and if you haven't done so yet, please go check his following online. This could be, I really don't care about all the men who say that this is just a sign of insecurity, and women too, but you do have to check his following and see what's going on there. And I'm not saying that you should be tracking all the women he's following and see what relationship to him they have and, you know, stuff like that. That is not my point whatsoever. It is always a major red flag when, let's say, a man is followed by, you know, not too many people, let's say a couple of hundred people or something like that, right? And he's following thousands of people, most of which are women. Do with that information what you want, but look out for him following lots of women who don't follow him back. Generally, lots of women, lots of OnlyFans girls, lots of bikini models and people like that, like lots of models in general, lots of really, really, really young women. Okay, I have seen that before, and it's generally really, really creepy when you see a man who, like, you know personally, and you know that he is in a relationship because he might even be public about that, and then you see his like under every post of a girl in a bikini. Yeah, and then you see that they follow lots of girls who do like spicy content. It is up to you that what to do with that information, but that is clearly a major red flag. So women are content, and women are to be consumed in the eyes of men like this. So yes, anyways, you guys, thank you very much for watching this video. I really hope you found it helpful. Please watch out for all these things. I have a lot more things to go through. I'll make a second part of this video because I don't want to make this video too long. I've already been talking for a while. So I want to make this content digestible for you and, you know, easy to consume. Please leave your comments in the comment section. Please let me know what you think about this. If you have any other thoughts, if you have any other red flags that you have personally met in guys, right, in real life. If you have any other ideas for the videos in the future, please let me know as well. And yes, once again, thank you very much for watching this video. I love you guys, and I will see you in the next one.